Good.
We're good. We're back.
So we're doing a cast out right now. It's not raining coins on the mic right now.
It's raining money in here. It's Friday Night Flies. I'm Boulder. Welcome back to another episode. Like to mention that we do have chat going. What is it called again?
Oh, you put me on the spot there. Question and answer.
Question and answer. Thank you. Just having a little brain fart.
What was that?
I was coho fishing today. I'm all scrambled. Yeah, so like if you watched the episode right before this, Brad was saying it's coho season. We're all very excited. So I was out there today with Spey and tied up a few tube flies. So trying to change it up a little bit. And yeah, it's a great tube fly for the river that we're fishing specifically. It's a little bit darker. I actually got a couple bangs on it today when I was out there. So I know it's going to work. Tomorrow, it's a sure thing.
Well, the season's just started, so
yeah, it's just getting underway.
Find out what's happening.
All the salmon have been a couple of weeks behind. So
how's the clarity down there right now? Is it shoddy or?
Yeah, it's thick.
So you got to beef it up with the UV. And
it's either use a really big pattern with a lot of flash, like Brad's jigs that he tied. So check out that video, or use something that's darker, so that the color kind of penetrates through. So I'm doing a little bit of combo with 2 on my tube fly. It's darker pattern and it has a lot of UV materials in it, so help get through all that film that's in the river.
The chalkiness.
The chalkiness. So if we go down, I'll show you what it's all about. So with the tube fly, this is the tube system that I'm using, HMH.
Put it in front of us so you can see. Put it right down
oh, sorry.
There you go. Perfect.
HMH. So I'm tying these on the small rigid tubes. I've used a couple of different tube systems. I am starting to really like it. This HMH is really simple. It's 2 components. You got one, a tube, and then the other part is this clear plastic tubing which holds your hook. And then after we tie the tube, I'll show you how it's done, but the tube that you've tied on slips inside this rubber tube. You nip it off at the size you need and fasten your hook to the other side. We'll show you that at the end of the fly. To start with, I've cut a piece of this long tube into the size that I want, so whatever length you're looking for. Second step is to, we're just going to melt the end of it a little bit. Don't get it right in the flame. You just need to curl the plastic. So I don't know if you can see it. You probably can. So we've curled it. I just stamp it on the base of my vise to make the end flat.
So what does that
Next,
do? That just keeps the...
That's going to keep your thread from coming right off the end of your tube. It gives you just, it's the nose of the tube. HMH has this nice system that fits into your vise. So this piece here goes into my vise, and you have a tube holder, which is just a metal rod. So if you lose it, use a pin. It's a metal rod that I slip inside. It has a little hook on the end, so that your tube's at the end. Simple. You stick it in. You're making sure that this tube goes underneath this capping piece.
Keeps your tube from spinning.
Keeps it from spinning. Yep. And it also gives you an appropriate length so that you don't tie right on, so that you can still attach this tubing onto it afterwards. So I got it on there, and the back of this tube is actually just flush with the back of this piece here. And now I'm ready to tie. So I got it secured on there. My tube's not going to move. First UV is my UV thread. It's the fuchsia or the hot pink. Orange works good too. And I'm just going to get this onto my fly, or onto the tube, and I'm going to go right back. I need to tighten my vise. Go right back to where we've attached it to the holder. So this fly here, I'm using an orange holographic for the body wrap. So I'm going to get myself a nice length. And we're going to tie it in right at the back. Take this thread all the way up to the front, and I'm going to leave room to tie in the rest of my materials in the nose of the tube. So we're just going to simply wrap this nice orange holographic up this tube.
Man, I'm so looking forward to going coho fishing. Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
it'd be nice.
Man, when they're jumping like they were today for you,
Oh,
Scott,
they were teasing me all
that makes you
afternoon.
not want to leave. That
Oh,
makes you want to come home late for dinner and get in a whole lot of trouble from your wife.
Well, I was only planning on being there for an hour, and it was 3.
Yeah.
Before I knew. Before I knew it, it was 3 o'clock. I'm thinking about fishing again.
You could actually put your hackle plier on there too. So
That's what you were doing. I noticed that.
Yeah.
it makes it a little, because if you do mess up and let it go, there's tension. It doesn't.
There's
just
weight.
go fuzz. Yeah.
Just don't let go.
I guess a hackle plier would probably put twist in it. It won't lay as nice either. Well,
No, I use the hack plier at home. I just don't always think when I get here.
trying to show off here.
So if you left it a little bit longer too, it'd be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So you're tight on material.
I went pretty skinny. I don't like to waste nothing. You'll see this will work out just to exactly where I want it. So I've trapped the end. I'm going to tie it off. That's my waist. All right, so we got that in there. Next, I got some flash here. So it's a holographic Flashaboo in this nice deep purple color.
I love purple.
Did you buy that?
I got it down in the city. See if I can get a couple strands off right here. So I got probably about eight strands. There we go. I like to double them up, use less material, less waste again. And I know that this is going to be long enough. So whichever way you want to do it, you can either grab yourself about 20 and just put them in straight and cut it off, or you can fold them over a few times. I'm just going to tie this in right on the top. Cut out those loops from my folds. Perfect. And I can leave all that in there. It doesn't really fuss me none. Next, I got some black UV bucktail. So now you can get all your bucktails in UV.
Yeah, they're UV too, aren't they?
Yeah, UV too.
Pretty fancy.
So it kind of glows purple under the UV light.
Let's see it there.
So I got myself a matching section here, and it's going to go right on top of that Flashaboo. Just going to trim off my ends nice and even. Makes it easy for me to get it all in there.
So when you're fishing this, are you running with a sink tip or a full sink or something?
Sink tip.
A sink
So
tip
on my fly line, short leader and a sink tip.
to get her down. You're dragging it down.
Dragging it down, yeah. So that's my bucktail on there. And next I got some fuchsia polar bear.
So yeah, polar bear.
So the polar bear was really nice. I did a couple of these this morning and I posted them on our Facebook. A bunch of different patterns. Some of them I went bucktail and bucktail. Some of them used little polar bear.
Polar bear's got a nice stringy effect in there.
The polar bear flows really nicely in the water with a really slow current, which is where the coho are holding. They're in that slower current. The polar bear really reacted nicely. Didn't need as much encouragement to move.
For all you guys that are on Facebook and gals, check us out, Permanent Fish Finder on Facebook. You'll see our page. Scotty and myself, we do a pretty good job of keeping it up to date with a bunch of fishy pictures and a few local tips. So make sure you get on there and check it out.
Yeah, we're always posting what's happening on our lake systems and river systems, what flies I'm tying. I'll usually kind of post them like this morning before I went fishing. I posted up the patterns that I was going to use today. So you'll actually see this one on there. Out of the 4 color variations that I did today, this was the one getting all the hits. Alright, so we got that in there. I'm just going to build this head nice and even. Let's cover up all that hair that's in there. Give it a quick whip finish.
You UV hit it?
And then finish it off with a quick UV. Yeah.
I almost called that one, didn't I?
You did. Protects the thread, especially since you got quite a
amount of it.
amount of it. Yeah.
Well, you want to be banging the bottom too, so you want it armored up as much as you can.
So then we got our loon UV.
I mean, you could throw a cone head on that too. It'd probably be pretty sexy.
Now with my lighter Spey rod, your big one, no problem throwing those jigs.
Yeah. What are you running? 7-weight?
Mine's a 7-weight. And today, when I went to the unweighted flies versus using some of these big heavy ones that I've been making,
So much easier.
I had a lot easier time casting. And
See, you could
I
even
just
put
used
some
my
eyeballs on there. Would be crazy too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So put some eyes on it, or you could even put just black, like just
little marker. And
some
an
black
eye in.
marker, and then just UV over top of it too, right?
So with your UV, you want to make sure you get all that thread. All right, and then just keep that vise going for a second. Oh, thanks, Scott.
Keep the
I
vise
love the
moving.
UV stuff because it settles so nicely. If you move it around, you can really shape that so nice. It's so that the problem with some of the other stuff like epoxy, it'll start setting more on one side than the other, and then that weights your fly, and then all of a sudden your fly's swimming sideways,
On its side, yeah. Oh yeah.
and it's horrible when that happens. So the UV stuff is awesome. It flows really, really quickly, and then as soon as you hit it with the light, that outside shell just crisps up right away, keeps it from stretching.
What are you
and
running
moving.
for a hook size on that? Like 2-aught or something, or 3-aught?
I believe
4-aughts?
I had today I had 4s, yeah. So I tied this one as well in different sizes. So the smaller flies, you just put a smaller hook on it. So that's your fly, done and done. And then your last little step for you to be able to finish it is pull out your holder. I'm just going to move that right out of here. So what you're left with at the back of your hook or of your tube is this little bare bit, and then you take your rubber, your flexible rubber. So I got it on there, and I push it right down to where I started my time. So hopefully I'm still in camera there.
Yeah.
So I got it right on, and then you can even adjust the length of this so that your hook sits at a different length. If you've tied your tube really, really short and your wing is really, really long and you want your hook hanging back a little bit farther, you have a little bit of room that you can actually play with that tube. But myself, I do about the same distance. That I'm on the plastic. Let me just cut it off if the scissors work. So let's get all this out of the way. That's what you're left with. And then you feed your line through the nose. It comes out the back. You tie it onto your hook. And then this hook, after your line's attached, get it inside that rubber bit. So now you can make it sit. You can have them so they ride up or down, doesn't really matter.
We got the DC boys in the house.
I know, my phone's ringing. So there's your fly, hook and all.
That's a pretty sexy fly, man. I think you're gonna have to leave a couple of them for me.
So yeah, I was using that today, and it was getting a couple hits.
Okay, but let's go up top and we'll sign out and get another pattern.
Sounds good. We'll get Scotty Holmes coming up next. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the fly fishing and enjoy tying some flies. That's all I got to say today. I'll be back.
Love the tug.
Love the tug. I do. That's better than wet nets. Yeah.